30 seconds to go. Welcome, everybody. Hey, welcome. It's John the Net Guy. We are live for the September Roguecast live stream. And this is brought to you by Roadcast.com. Who am I? John the Net Guy. You can follow me on YouTube, which you might be watching this on, Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook. I'm a Roguecaster. And what does that mean? Well, Roguecast is a new way of buying PC components, gaming hardware, from people like myself, Jeff from Craft Computing, Iggy, and others who actually do game and do play and do hardware and tinker. This shop, this studio I have here, is a working studio. I do upgrade PCs. I see a few of you in here on the chat. Some beard grooming tips. Yes, that would be awesome. When they told me the other day that, hey, do you want to do the September live stream? We have GPUs. I was shocked. I said, I haven't seen a GPU in at least a year and a half. I'm a tech YouTuber, you know, and it's been tough because we've been trying to do budget builds, and the only GPUs you can get are $2,000 or a used RX 470, and nobody wants that. So when they said that we have GPUs, by the way, which are in stock right now, so this is the GPU we're going to be looking at today. It's the Sapphire Radeon AMD RX 6600 XT. Now, this was introduced last month. You guys probably saw a bunch of tech tubers talking about it. And, you know, these cards are interesting. They're kind of a stopgap. They're a way to fill that need for a newer graphics card. Maybe you're building a brand new gaming machine. I'll tell you about this machine. This is actually going to be going to my stepson. He's in the Coast Guard boot camp right now. He's sending us letters. It's really funny. The food's horrible. But he's a big Warzone player. He has no idea this is happening, and he's sequestered, so he'll have no idea that he's getting this card and this gaming machine. So we're kind of excited about that. But your choices were go buy a cheap used GPU or spend a ton of money. This machine is an AMD 3600. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's decked out in Roguecast red today. But, you know, it's a perfect platform, and I previously had this GTX 1070 in it. And a GTX 1070 8 gig, I was looking on eBay this morning. I could get $400 for this card by itself. So let's talk about this GPU. If you want to jump the line, let's just run over real quick and we'll just talk about it. It is a $549 card today on Roguecast.com. It's for 1080p gaming. That's the goal. It's 8 gigs of memory. It does have FreeSync because it's an AMD card. It's built on the RDNA 2 architecture. Like a lot of cards these days, it's favoring the DisplayPort ports on it. So it's going to have one HDMI 2.1 with variable refresh rate, as well as the DisplayPort ports as well. It does offer the ability to do ray tracing. It does not have hardware ray tracing, I don't believe. I have to check on that. It's also an interesting card because it is so budget friendly. You know, it's around $500. The die size that they use is much smaller, so they can fit more of them on, I guess, the wafers that they make them. It's not actually using the ultra small processes that they have to use for some of the larger GPUs, so it's easier to make, which means it's easier to make right now. It's not as, you know, competing with these other GPUs. But it's a very performant card. And the Pulse Edition, the difference between that and like the Nitro, which I have, I got the 6800 Nitro back here. That's like a $1,500 card right now because you can't get them. But it has all the bling. It has all the RGB. If you're not a big RGB fan, this might be the card for you. It's a very simple card. A couple other interesting things about the 6600 launch. They don't have a Founders Edition or a reference card that's built by AMD or you know, any other person. It's all third-party cards. So they've gone to these manufacturers that design, and Sapphire did a great job on this. Again, it has a back plate. It has a couple things that I'll go through when we pull it out and look at it. I want to get to gaming, if you guys don't mind. I'm going to look in the chat here and just check in. Hey, Iggy, Pinky, I see a few of you guys there. Awesome. I love it. Awesome. Thank you guys. And, I just wanted to say, I'm going to go through these benchmarks. This is a live experience. I want you guys to tell me what you want to see. If there's a game on the list that you want me to open up and play, and maybe that's the game that you like, let me know about it and I'll do that. Other cool things about this, there are 2 other September specials going on right now. So if you're a PC builder, maybe you've been holding out for some storage, I'll give you a hint. Or maybe you're holding out for a new case. We've got some stuff coming up later in the show that I'll tell you about. But we'll get going right away here on the benchmarks on this. Do want to talk again, the system is a AMD 3600X. Now, this is a pet peeve of mine. You'll see some people that benchmark this, and they're using a 5950. They've got 64 gigs of RAM. They've got the Gen 4 PCI Express. They've got all the top stuff, and that's not what most people have. So what you're going to see here is, essentially my machine. It's one of my mid-spec gaming machines, and, I'm going to upgrade it, and I'm going to show you the before and after. So if you say, oh, but, this guy over here, he benchmarked it, and he got 5 more FPS. Well, this is live. This is what we get. So just wanted to point that out. We are going to be benchmarking, to answer your question, Pinky, at 1080 today, but there are some interesting things that you can do with the Trix Boost software, and I'll talk about that as well. So first up, one of my favorites, it's actually Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I'm going to pull something up here for you real quick. I actually benchmarked it all on the older card, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this different view up. You'll be able to see what this looks like. We're going to do that later. One sec to get over into full screen. Upside down and backwards. There we go. So this is actually not on this card. I'm just going to pull this up for you so you can see it. And I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Go back over to here. Just want to show you the benchmarking that I was doing. Now, it had the scale resolution set here. So this was on the GTX 1070 card. Now, one of the ones that a lot of reviewers really love to use is this New York scene, because you can go out in the middle of the desert in Microsoft Flight Sim, and you can look around, and it's going to be fast. But once you get all of the textures in here, I'm getting about 47, 45. Again, the lower you go, the slower it's going to go, the more textures it's going to have to load, obviously. This is a really tough game for a lot of GPUs. And what's interesting about it is like, oh, well, that's not 165 hertz. Why aren't we up there? Flight simulation is completely different than FPS gaming. 60 FPS in a flight sim is excellent for realism, usability. So I wanted to show you this. So we're getting somewhere along the lines of 45 roughly in here in Microsoft Flight Sim. And that's, again, on high or ultra settings as much as possible. Yes, I did just break out the game yoke. I'm a pilot. I can't fly without it, Have to make it look real. But again, this is live. I'm going to show you my screen. I've got the game up right here. We're going to go back to New York here. And I'm going to pump in some game audio. Again, let me know if the game audio is too loud right now. But this is running on that card. Now, it might be hard to see, but it's got 63 FPS, 64 FPS in the upper left. Exact same settings. What are those settings? Let me show you those real quick, the graphics options. Uh-oh. What did I do? I'm running 2 outputs right now. I've got one going through the DisplayPort, one going through the HDMI. Let me see here real quick if I've got that. Did I just do the demo in 1 second here? That would be just my luck, wouldn't it? I want to say if I can do this. Pull it back down. Output back on. My luck. Let's see. Arg, you broke the game. That is right. That is right. Let me do the magic 3-finger salute. Didn't like that. I'm going to have to go ahead and see if it will shut down. That worked. Bring it back up. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to try to do a live benchmarking session. I don't know why a lot of people don't do this, maybe because of this exact reason. But yeah, that's one of the things is we have to use some of our gear and splitters and all that. And so that definitely did not like running that. So we're going to see it pop up here. And we're going to load this up. What are some of the games that you guys are playing? It's definitely popping up right now. I can see it over there. It just comes up a little bit earlier. Put my pin in. So what are some of the games that you guys are playing? What are some of the games that you'd like to look at? I want to pull up for you guys just a little bit of the benchmarking so you can see what I'm going to show you today here. Here's some of the options that we have. If you'd like me to show any one of these, I can. Apex Legends, Pinky, you picked the one that I don't have loaded up and ready. Sorry about that, man. Warzone is Jacob's favorite game. So the GTX 1070 is actually a pretty decent Warzone card, but a 180 is much, much better. And then Humankind, thanks, Todd. Watch Dogs Legion. See, these are all great titles that I would love to have loaded up for you. But I didn't. So we're going to have to pick from this list. I'm going to pick another one here. Let's just grab Cyberpunk 2077. I'm going to use my Steam account. That's what I bought it on. So Cyberpunk 2077, that's been a tough game for a lot of cards last year, especially when you try to get into the higher settings levels. As you guys know, it can definitely task a machine. On a 1070, again, decent graphics card. Let me pull this up for you. So this is what I captured earlier today. I'm going to zip forward a little bit in it. So you can see here, we're running at the full HD. We're on ultra and high. So ultra and high, I changed them around a little bit to be high and high, just to give us a little bit of a comparison level here. We have to have something that we can work with. And I'll get in the game. I'm not too far in this save, so I need to go through and play a little bit. Some of my saves got overwritten. But just lower left corner, we're getting about 45, 43 outdoors. That's kind of what I was showing you guys earlier. I can pull those benchmarks up while this is running here. So again, Cyberpunk, I'm somewhere between 30 and 40, especially as you start to play these games and you start to get some more action. That's when I've noticed things slow down a little bit. So when you get in these tight areas, I think I got some police stuff after me. But that's that demo. I'm going to just launch Cyberpunk now, and we'll go in and play that. X-Wing TIE Fighter. Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, all these games that I've been needing to put some time into. I want to know where you guys find all this time to play. So while this thing's loading up, I do want to talk a little bit about pricing. Again, $549 here. The elephant in the room is everybody's saying, what about MSRP? What about MSRP? And yeah, the MSRP I think on this card is $529, so we're like that close to MSRP. Yes, you can go to Newegg, and if they ever have them, they might sell them to you at MSRP. Let me know if that game audio is too loud. I'm going to keep it low, and then I'll raise it up if it's not. But that was the thing. And if you do get the card and it finally does come in stock, you're going to have to pay shipping on it. With Roguecast, there's no shipping charge. So again, when you compare apples to apples, we're very, very close, which is awesome. And we have these GPUs in stock. I can't guarantee that they're going to last the whole stream. I know that there's a small amount that we have available specific for this event. So let's go back and double check my settings so you guys can see there. So I've got Ultra and High as my presets. So I was testing out that. So a few of these went over to Ultra. I'm not using ray tracing, obviously, in this. No DLSS. Now, FSR is coming, and FSR is going to do a lot what DLSS does, but it's going to do it with any card that you have. So this card will definitely do FSR. And I can show you a trick here with Tricks Boost that we'll be able to do as well. So that's going to be a pretty cool one. So I'll get back out of here. We'll continue my save game here. $449 would be acceptable. $549 is nuts. Now, interestingly, Andrew, again, I'm not going to argue pricing here. Pricing from Sapphire is $529 MSRP. You look around and, yeah, AMD put out an MSRP that was lower, I think, than NVIDIA. They were trying to undercut, I think, the 3060. They really were. And, it is a very comparable card to an RTX 3060. While this is loading, I'll talk about that a little bit. So it's a very, very comparable card to one of those. I've actually seen with Wendell from Level 1 Techs. He was doing some benchmarking with them, and it was a little bit higher, I think, than the 3060. So he's got a really good review video if you ever want to get into the details. So now I'm spinning around. It's hard to see, but in the lower left corner, I'm pulling 58 to 60 FPS. Same thing in the upper left there. And we're on ultra settings now. Now, my other benchmark was at high on the GTX. That's what it was able to do. So again, outdoor things tend to slow down a little bit. Now we're actually going up to 67, 68 FPS. So you can see, card is very, very capable of playing this game, even on ultra settings. And then we could definitely do ultra. We can try to get it around. Let me know in the chat, what kind of FPS targets are you guys going for? Are you trying on a game like this? Are you trying for 100 FPS, or is 60 FPS there, 61 acceptable? Because to me, this actually is working pretty good, and you can see. Let's see if we can get our outside view. Oh, I'm not a good driver, clearly. But yeah, decent card, awesome game. And if we go back to those benchmarks, I just want to show you those real quick. Again, what I ran into was somewhere between 30 and 40. If I had it on ultra settings, it was running, the GTX was running about 30. If I put it on just high, it was getting 40, 42. We're easily, with the 6600 XT, getting in the 60s. And again, this machine has a solid state drive as well as a spinning hard drive. So some of the flight sim stuff actually has some trouble with the spinning hard drive. Did want to cover one other interesting thing that we've got going on today too, which is those other specials that I talked about. So I'm prepping this machine for him. He gets out of boot camp, I think, early October. And so I want this to be a great gift for him. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was storage. So when I was playing Flight Sim, I noticed that it was lagging when it was going to disk for the textures, because that game's like almost 200 gigs now with all the downloadable textures. And so I have that on the slow spinning hard drive. Roguecast has a special today on Samsung SSDs. Now, they're going to beat Amazon at this price. Their price is, I think, almost identical to Amazon normally, but you can take 20% off right now with the promo code 20OFF. Now, it is case sensitive, so off has to be in capitals. There is no capital 2 or 0, I found out. So I just wanted to point that out, and there is a limit of 1 per customer. But a couple really, really cool things about that. Let me bring you guys back here, and I'll tell you about this. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to bring up roguecast.com. And I'm going to bring up those catalog. If you go on the left side of the website here, and I'm going to pull it up for you so you can see it. So you can pick drives and storage. We've got this parametric search on the left side. So if you want a great deal on a Samsung SSD, I've bought a lot of Crucials only because they're a little bit cheaper. But right now, if you use this, if you take 20% off of this 4 terabyte QVO drive, that takes it down to $300. That's like 75 cents, per gigabyte. Yes, $75 per terabyte. That's a great deal if you don't want to be dealing with SATA drives anymore. So, super cool option that we have there. Another one that stuck out to me, and I'm trying to find it here, was the 1 terabyte. That was already a great deal. This Samsung 980 1 terabyte NVMe. So that's going to fit in an NVMe slot. I've already got one in here. I don't know exactly which one I put in here. I'd have to go look. It's under the GPU right now with some armor, but there's a couple extra slots in this. Now that would be a good card to put in, but this 1 terabyte, I could throw that in as an expansion, maybe just a dedicated game drive so your OS is off. And that's $129 minus 20% off on top of that. So you think it comes out to just over $100 exactly. So using the code 20OFF was going to get you a Samsung, any of these Samsung SSDs. Again, 1 per customer. I don't want you guys buying like 30 of these and selling them on eBay for markup. But yeah, 20% off. And on some of these larger drives, I think there's an 8 terabyte here. That's a pretty big number. So very excited about that. So that is the SSD special. Just again to remind you guys, 20 off while supplies last, obviously. It expires here in a couple of hours, so wanted to point that out here. Another thing that we're going to have a special and a sale on is Leon Lee cases. This is another cool thing. If you like Iggy down there, who I think has to run, he's got to run. prepping a machine for review. He has a dynamic, I believe, and so if you want to get one of these really cool, the dynamic razor, the ROG, any of those, the mini, we've got a bunch of these. I'm going to pull them up over here. Same situation. Go to the catalog. Check out computer cases. This is our September special for this month. If you go to Leon Lee there, all of them, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20% off. Now, also, cases are super heavy. There's free shipping on them too, so you're not paying shipping, which is different. You can check every one of these is a great deal. 20% off makes it even that much better. So wanted to point that out real quick, is we're having those specials on Samsung SSDs if you need storage. If you want to upgrade your case, I love the look of those dynamics. We've got those 20% off as well. I'm going to pull up the chat real quick. Just seeing if there's any questions on this. Do you want to go to a couple more game examples while we have them here? And then I'm going to pull the card out. I'm going to give you a good look at it as well. So it's an interesting card. Again, $549. It's available right now. I don't know how long that's going to last. And it's available on the website. If you, again, just go to catalog here. Video graphics cards. These are made by Sapphire. And please tell me it's in stock. Yes, we still have it in stock. So while it's listed on the website, this is the card we're looking at right here. That means it's in stock. That means we can still get it. So awesome card to have there as well. Let's go back and let's talk about some more games while we're at it. Another one that I wanted to talk about was Valhalla. This is one of mine, one of my favorites actually. Just because it's a good looking game. It's performant. Pull this up for you guys. So this is on the GTX, just so for comparison's sake. So down here in the lower left corner, I'm getting 63, 65. And I am way out in the middle of nowhere. There's not a ton of textures that are loaded in this area. So, definitely not, pressuring the graphics card in this GTX. So it's 63 FPS. And now I want to load that game up because I think that's a really good game as well. So I'm going to pull up my Epic Games launcher where that is. And we'll go into the library here. We'll launch Valhalla. So now this again is running live on my 6600 right now. So you're going to see what it looks like. Logging in here, play it. This is another really good game that I wish I had a lot more time to play. What time do you guys play your games? That's another interesting, good questions. If you, are you guys midnight owls? Playing overnight? Are you playing in the mornings? I have not had time to do morning. I have to play and just get a lack of sleep. That's the best I can do. Let's talk about benchmarks here. So what we're expecting, again, what I showed on the video here, between 63 and 67, depending on the settings. And what's interesting is the published spec from Sapphire for this card on an AC Valhalla is 95. So I nailed it. I got, 92. I got like within a rounding error on that. And I was excited about that because, whenever a benchmark matches something like reality, it's always nice. I think this one's actually installed even on my slower drive. So if I had known about that SSD special, maybe I would have ordered one a little earlier. Let me talk about that real quick, because I think there's a time limit on that special. It's going to be for while supplies last, obviously, and I think it's for the next couple of hours we're trying to do on that. We can't honor those prices forever because, again, that's beating Amazon and a few others. And while this is still loading, just remind one more time that September special is on the Leon Lee cases. No code needed at all here. They're just 20% off across the board if you want to check those out. So we'll come back here. Again, you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. I think there might be a quarter-second delay or so. After the kiddo goes to sleep, 8 to 10. Any later than that, my workouts suffer. You still find time to work out, Todd? Now I'm really jealous, man. Let me bring the game audio in. Again, scream at me if it's too loud. I think it's actually pretty soft here, so. Yeah. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed franchise. I started on console with that, and oh man, what a series that was. I'm trying to think of other classic game series. Maybe Halo. It would be nice to have, a Halo demo with this card. I think it would do really, really well. Again, almost 100 FPS, and this is on ultra settings. I'm going to go double verify that before we do it. Another couple things about the AMD cards. So there's always going to be that debate of RTX versus the AMDs. You got the RTX voice, which is really cool, but I don't know how often I run a hairdryer in my studio or my gaming area. Are you really going to be gaming at a coffee shop with loud noises behind you? I don't know. Some of those things are kind of interesting. So VSync is off, full screen here. Graphics, ultra high quality on the graphics is overall. You guys can see all those. VRAM, again, this is where 1080p gaming comes in. Okay, Randy, I'm going to pull up the game audio a little for you. It's a little quiet right now. Hopefully that doesn't bother anybody. But yeah, 8 gigs of memory. You don't need 12, 16, 20 gigs of memory on your GPU if you've got 1080p. Higher resolutions, higher textures, yeah, maybe. You can run this at higher frame rates with a trick with Tricks Boost here. I'll show you that. There are other options now, though. Awesome. Okay, interesting. RTX voice. And my dog. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's true. And, there's definitely some advantages to that. I don't know a lot of streamers that use it directly, but that's one thing that we'll talk about. Other things like DLSS versus FSR versus some of the other stuff that's built into some of these games. They even have the downsampling, rendered resolutions. One of my friends loves to say, he says, if you have to pause the game to see a difference, and you can't just natively see it, then it's not an equal test. Now here, I haven't started moving yet, but we're at 106 in the upper corner. I don't know if you guys can see that with MSI Afterburner, and that does drop down. Obviously, all the games, but gorgeous game. That sunlight that it's got there. Now, PETA, I really hope they don't get me in trouble here, but I am playing a Viking game, so I do have to skin a seal at some point in here, if I can even find one. They're usually all over. But yeah, now we're pushing over 100 FPS already on ultra high settings. So again, easily a 1080p card. 1440 is obviously higher. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got a seal. I got to jump off, and we got to do some skinning here. And one of the things that I really like about this game, actually, is that it does keep track of the graphics. So if I hit escape here, I go into options, it's keeping track of the FPS all along. So now I've got some dips here. I've got some hangs that I can, figure out and look into. The sun is blinding, Pinky says. I love it. Another cool thing about the AMD cards is this, you're going along, is the software. That's what I was actually going to say is, I love the software. It just seems more polished, right, on the AMD cards for sure. No real seals. Yes, Roadcast, sorry about that. No real seals harmed in the making of this. But you have some tuning options that you can go into here. You've got some, monitoring and logging. It'll actually sample, just like I like to run the HW info when I'm doing stuff, but this will log to a file. It makes a CSV. I can do overlaid metrics in here, and I can make them even larger. So this is just a hotkey. This is the Alt-R hotkey in the software. I can do some recording and streaming capability. It does have tuning profiles for each game. And I've used this with 3 monitors before and stretched, what's that one? It's in here. And stretched my view across several machines. So you can do all that. Does have obviously the FreeSync. So yeah, Eyefinity, I believe, is the one that I was using there. So I had like a 5800 by 1080 or whatever screen, and I was playing GTA 5. That's the coolest game at that resolution. Hey, Mukul. Oh, 3 a. Oh, hey. I thought you said, hey, 3 a.m. It says, hey, John. Sorry, it's far away here on the chat screen. What time is it over there, man? Mukul has a great channel, Mr. Mubot, and does a lot of cool reviews. So I was just showing again the views here of the AMD software. Really, really cool stuff. And there we go. And yep, 6600s in stock. And so we go back out there. So again, Valhalla running easily. They stated 92. We're seeing almost 100, and this is not a high-spec machine. This is a 3600X with 16 gigs. It's a pretty basic machine, and it even has an SSD for the game storage as a backup. And so definitely a cool, machine there as well. Let me get back out to the desktop. We'll come back out here. Just make sure I covered everything that I wanted to in there. I didn't get to do much of the flight simulator because I managed to crash it. That was obviously pretty fun. It is 3 a.m. here. Yeah, good timing. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I'll get back out to the desktop here. Very coincidental as well here. So again, we talked about the hardware specials. I do want to talk about where you can find more deals from Roadcast. So one of the interesting things that happens is every month with the newsletter, the live stream. Those are both great ways. If you visit roguecast.com, and I'm going to switch over so you can see it here. On the left side of the homepage, if you scroll down, put your email address in here for email specials, and that's going to get you on the newsletter so you can get those. I literally bought a SFX power supply that they had on special from the newsletter that's in that machine with an adapter. So I did that on one of my other live streams. It's because it's a great deal. That was way lower than retail. Again, a couple of these are going to be loss leaders, so you're going to get a better deal than regular price. And with all of these products that are out here, if you take a look at them, they're going to have reviews and they're going to have, honest opinions from these group of fine roguecasters out there. So I'm going to take a look again real quick at the chat to see if there's any other questions. Of the benchmark games that we've been looking at here, is there one that you guys want me to pull up that we can take a quick look at? If not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the machine down and we'll pull the card out and I'll give you a really good look at all the features on the card itself. So if anybody's got a real hankering to see Warzone or something, let me know in the chat. But at this point, we will call it. I'll give it a few more seconds here. One other quick thing. I'm going to switch over to the other camera here so I can show you the box. This is the Sapphire version, obviously. MSI makes one, other ones. You want to see the MechWarrior. Now, what's interesting is I don't have the MechWarrior 5, is it? I've got the MechWarrior Online, the free-to-play version, but it's kind of cool. If you've played some of those other games. So interesting thing about this, obviously it's talking about the PCI Express 4. There is a performance bump if you've got a PCI Gen 4 lane there available. There is a little bit better than the Gen 3. And then memory, we talked about the 8 gigs, and it is designed for 1080p gaming. That's where their target market is, but it is able to do faster than that. Oh, and you know what I really wanted to do here? MWO is cool. Awesome. I really wanted to show you the Tricks software. So let me pull that up here. And I'm going to bring you guys in so you can see on that screen. I'll put it in the center, and I'm going to zoom it in a little bit for you guys so that you can see a little bit better. But this is the details on the card. So if you're really, really worried about the memory bus speeds, if you're worried about the number of shaders and all that, that's the data. So this is just kind of an informational screen about the card. If you had one of the Nitro versions, you could actually adjust some of the colors and stuff through the Tricks software. This Tricks Boost is a really cool feature. So I was playing with this earlier, and on one of those benchmarks, I was actually able to get 12 frames a second more. I think I was able to boost up to 60 by playing around with this. So if you have a 1080p monitor and you want to adjust it down, you can do that. If you have a 1440p monitor and you want to bring it down slightly, it's doing very, very similar things to what FSR is going to do. It's doing that, downsampling the resolution a little bit. So the rendered resolution in a game that doesn't support render resolutions, it's bringing the render resolution down a little bit, and the monitor is making up for the difference. It's scaling it up for you, essentially. So you're going to lose a tiny, tiny bit of quality. I can show you how that works real quick here by just applying. Now, this may cause some, blanking issues here for a second. I'll bring it back to me while we're waiting for it to apply. But what this is going to do is it's going to create a resolution that's 85% of 1080p. So in the case of Valhalla, if that's what we were playing, that was one of the other ones, or if it's Microsoft Flight Sim, or any one of the other games, it's going to take a second to come back here. It's thinking. But if you're in any one of those other games, it will actually allow you to render it at that lower scale. And it's interesting because I cannot adjust it right now because I'm streaming it. So what's funny is I can actually see it over here. I can see my desktop and it's applying, but I can't adjust it because of the way I've got these monitors shared. Dang. That's one of the things I really wanted to show you guys. That's too bad. So let's pull the card out here, and I'll talk more about the card in there as well. Mech Warrior, I'll have to hold on that one because I just totally blew up my build machine here. So I'm shutting it down now. We'll pull the card out and we'll talk about it. Awesome. Battletech was good. Oh, loved his old DOS Mech Warrior. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. So again, the card's a 160 watt card, so you're not going to need 3 power supply connectors. You know, I've gone through, if you've been watching Gigabyte and some of the stuff that's going on with Gamers Nexus and all that, you know, high wattage power supplies, you know, these cards that are pulling, you know, 300-400 watts per card. They have 3 rails, you know, 3 power rails going right to them with 3 connectors. This is going to be a single power connector. Super duper easy upgrade. And again, very capable card. So obviously I'm doing the reverse of the installation. I'm just freeing it up back there. I'll pull this off. This case has a little tiny spot there. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to pull up the third camera, see if you guys can see it here. So this is the card itself. It's a twin fan card. It's got a plastic housing on it as well. There we go. You can see the Pulse logo. There is the end of the card. I'm actually going to pull that over on this camera so you guys can see it a little bit better. So there are the different ports. I've got 2 of them available here. There's only 1 HDMI, and the rest are all display ports. So kind of plan ahead if you've got multiple older HDMI monitors. But something cool about it, check that back out. It's got a back plate. So for, you know, an entry-level 1080 card, I guess I would say, you know, having a full-length back plate is cool. Other interesting thing, if we just compare it size-wise, I'm going to bring you guys back over here. Size-wise, it's shorter and smaller than the GTX. Actually, I could probably stack them on end without hurting them, hopefully. So you can see, it's definitely a smaller card. As far as thickness, this is what Wendell was saying. It's got a tiny bit more than 2 slots, maybe 2.05, I think is what he said. And, you know, it's not going to have a lot of RGB. Neither did the GeForce, right? This just has the EVGA, has the GeForce in white. It's kind of cool writing. But this one does not have RGB. It doesn't have a dual BIOS, so if you're a big-time card overclocker, which I am not one of, sometimes it's nice to have a BIOS flashback button. But yeah, you know, definitely a cool card. Very well constructed. It definitely has the heat sinks. I'll show you that here real quick. Coming back to camera 2. So you can see through the heat sinks and heat pipes. Again, the die surface area is much, much smaller on this thing versus some of the other ones. So there's less heat to cool down, especially on this one. So let me know if you guys have any specific questions. I showed you how to join the newsletter. I did also want to invite you guys to join us as Roguecast. So Roguecast is, like I said in the beginning, a new way of buying PC hardware, a new way of, you know, experiencing gaming. If you're a gamer, a YouTuber, just somebody that's an enthusiast, maybe you have a Twitch channel, Roguecast is looking for places to sponsor. And if you want to become a Roguecaster like myself and a few of the others that maybe even on here, Pinky Tech, I've seen some of Joe's work, it's really good. You know, feel free to send a message over to us on our socials and learn about more of the process of becoming a Roguecaster. So wanted to thank you guys all again for joining. This is a very special card. It fits a perfect niche that was out there of this 1080p and some 1440p gaming. It's very performant. I enjoyed it. I was kind of wondering, you know, what it was going to be like. A lot of people were kind of on the fence right when it came out. They're saying, oh, you know, who's doing full HD gaming? A lot of people are doing full HD gaming, you know, and that's the beauty of this card is it's pulling 100 frames per second in a lot of these games. I really enjoy it. Very good build quality, like I said. It does perform very well in the games that we've been seeing. I think I'm going to go back and play a little more Flight Simulator. Now I'll probably move it to a different drive so it runs better for me. But I did want to say that. I'm going to check and see if there's any other questions, and then we'll hit one more time the promo code. In case you guys missed it or you're joining late, just real quick, there are 3 things I wanted to show you. The Sapphire Radeon RX 6600 XT is for $549. It's available on Roguecast.com right now. That's the feature we're doing today. We do have a limited supply of these. I cannot guarantee, unless you go buy one right now, that you're going to get one hours from now. I don't believe that we're going to have stock for that long of them. For SSDs, and this one is really, really tempting me on that one. It's an awesome deal, for that 4 terabyte one. I thought was really cool. Oh, and it says $529 now. I'm not sure which one that is. Yeah, I know there's some pricing adjustments. I know there's different models and different versions of this. So, but yeah, the Samsung SSDs, 20% off with the code 20OFF. Make sure you do off in capitals. If you're having any sort of checkout difficulties, I just want to bring you guys back. One of the things is the site's really sensitive about addresses, which is important because my parents just ordered some cell phones and they didn't put their unit number on their address and their phones never showed up. So make sure that your address is good, specifically your zip code and everything is typed out right. I just want to point that out. Really cool. And the 6600 AC is now $529. Hey, $20 less. Okay, I love it. Even a better deal. We like that. And one last thing I wanted to point out again. Right now, for at least until supplies last, and I believe it's the next 24 hours, we're going to blow out these Lian Li cases. And these things are gorgeous. I always look at some of these tech tubers that have the dynamic, and you could tell they're iconic, right? The horizontal fans there that you can see right through. Great looking case. We have all of the Lian Li cases are on sale right now. So if you want any one of those cases, they're all 20% off. That's a great price if you need to stock up. Awesome. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, MoCool. I know it's 3 a.m. your time, so you got to head out. And thank you for everybody else that was watching here. Again, check us out on roguecast.com. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.